Yes, mates, how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel, where we try to dominate FPL one game week at a time. This video will focus on the different chips available in FPL. So we've got Wildcard, Free Hit, Triple Captain, and Bench Boost. As we discuss each chip, several scenarios have been created for the optimal time to play each one of them. We'll then discuss the potential blank and double game weeks, although these are subject to change. And then we've come with 4 different chip strategies to help you navigate the FPL season. Subscribe to the channel down below if you enjoy Fantasy Premier League. Anyway, let's rock and roll. Right, mates, first up we've got the wildcard. And first of all, what is a wildcard? A wildcard allows you to make unlimited free transfers throughout a game week, and then that's your team then moving forward. It's the most powerful chip in the game, so it's important to know when to play it. So when to play the wildcard, we've got a few different scenarios here. Basically, whenever your team needs it, it's a quick fix to replace bad players. If you've got a lot of injuries, a lot of suspensions, you can quickly take those players out and replace them with players that you like or players that are in form. But then the downside to this is that you lose your chip straight away then, and there might be better times or better game weeks where it might be better to play your wild card during that time. And in my opinion, I would rather take hits, particularly if it is a relatively small kind of change. I would rather take something like a -8, even a -12 if it was a double game week, rather than play my wild card. It is such a powerful chip, and I'd just be kind of wary. Like, if you are thinking of doing something like that, then maybe consider the route of taking hits rather than playing your wild card straight away. It's an easy route back to these premium players like Salah and Son when they do come back from their international competitions. It helps you to kind of navigate those kind of fixture swings as well. So if you've got players that don't quite fit into your team right now because they've got tough fixtures, then you can kind of target those when their fixtures do change, and you can play your wild card, get all those kind of players in. But what I kind of like about this strategy is that you can basically dead end your team up to a certain point, up to that game week 24, game week 25. So with this kind of strategy here, with playing your wild card to get Salah and Son back in, is you're looking to play your wild card relatively soon. So dead end your team up into game week 24, game week 25, spend all the money, don't keep anything in the bank, and then wild card everyone back in, and then you can kind of roll with it from there. The one thing I don't really like about this is that it's such a rigid strategy. So what happens if it comes to game week 24, game week 25, you've spent all your money, but then Salah's injured and Son's out of form and you don't want him anymore? So it's just a little bit rigid. So I don't know if I like this strategy as much. So if you are thinking of doing something like this, maybe free transfers might be the way to go, and maybe try and plan ahead of time so you can maybe get to a point where you don't have to play your wild card. I think we are going to hit a point in the season where a lot of people are going to be playing the wild card, and if you can wait a little bit longer, you might be playing the power game there, and it might be beneficial to you more in the future. One of the big strategies I do like with the wild card is playing it prior to another chip. So particularly things like triple captain or bench boost in particular is a very, very strong strategy. So playing that wild card just before another chip it allows you to perfectly set up your team. It perfectly allows you to set up your bench to activate that bench boost, or get a player in that you want to triple captain in a double game week or any other week. And that's one thing that I do really, really like about it. But one of the major downsides is that this needs proper planning, and you've got to look at the fixtures, you've got to look at the long-term fixtures, and it forces you to spread the money around. So once you activate this and you activate the wildcard prior to something like a bench boost, you've got to put money on the bench then, because like you want your bench players to actually achieve some points when you do eventually do play your bench boost. So it does require spread some money around. So playing it later on in the season when we have got more money available to us might be a better strategy, in my opinion. So these are the 3 main strategies. For me, I like the bottom one, and wildcarding just before playing another chip, particularly the bench boost, and we'll come more onto that later on as we work through the video. Moving on to free hit, and what is a free hit? The free hit chip will enable you to make unlimited free transfers for that single game week. So the team we pick is not the team that will move forward. It reverts back to your team from the previous week. It only comes into effect once you confirm these transfers and you click the button just above. Then at the next deadline, like I said, your team reverts back to how it was for the previous game week. So there's 3 main strategies to be able to play your free hit, in my opinion, and one of those is playing it during a double game week. Now this is a really aggressive strategy, and it allows you to pick the best players, the best doubles, and allows you to essentially pick the best captain for that particular week. The only downside to this is that you might want to play a different chip, particularly in those weeks. If it's something like a double game week, you might want to play triple captain on one of the bigger players, and you may already own some players who double anyway, or you might have some single players that have got great fixtures and you want those players anyway. Similar to the wildcard one, taking a hit or two might be the better play with something like this, because the free hit you might want to save when it moves on something like a blank game week, which is our next scenario. And one of the good things I like about this is during a blank game week is that the teams who play tend to be the lower half teams, because it's all to do with who gets through in cup competitions and it's clashes of fixtures and things like that. So you get to go back to your previous team and you can focus on the lesser teams playing in that one particular week, and it allows you to field a full 11, a good 11, and just that one team to be able to compete for that one game week. The only thing I don't like about this, it is a little bit boring. It's probably the safe play. And like I said, the fixtures do tend to involve the bottom half of the league, so it's not particularly, you don't get the big players involved really, so you won't get Haaland, you won't really get Salah involved or anything like this, but you might get an odd player who you might want to take a risk on, but you don't want them for any other point in the season. You can take a risk on a player, team reverts back to the way it was before, and you can keep on rolling from there. You might as well play it on a random game week, so you hook to a game week and your team doesn't look right, or you're not happy with a few things, and this just allows you to select a very, very strong 11 and then go back to your original team if you've got things like injuries and you've got short-term injuries, so you can play your free hit, get over those short-term injuries or suspensions and go back to your previous team. But for me, this is not the best strategy, and it's not always required, and usually you can always field an 11. I personally prefer to play it in something like a blank game week. It is a little bit boring, but it allows you to field a semi-decent 11 for that particular week, and you get to own players that you wouldn't normally own, so you can kind of take a little bit of a risk and kind of roll from there. But it's a decent chip, but it's not as strong as something like a wild card, because you only get to keep that team for 1 week. But for me, for this one, I think I'm going to play it in a blank game week, unfortunately. Next up, we've got the triple captain. And what is a triple captain? So once you activate your triple captain chip, it triples the points of your captain, as opposed to doubling the points, which is what a captain normally does. So it triples it instead. And what we're going to go through some triple captain scenarios, and then who I think are the players to kind of target and who are the best triple captain options. So the top one, same as we're kind of going through right now, and you'll see a recurring theme. Play it during a double game week because it gives you 2 fixtures rather than the one. It allows you to maximise the points return. If you know players going to play twice, they've got twice as many chances to get more points, score goals, do whatever they need to do. But it can be too tempting to target a double, particularly when it is something like a hard double. So if a good player's got a very, very difficult double as opposed to an easy single game week, if it was something like Haaland up against Arsenal and Liverpool as opposed to Haaland against Sheffield United at home, that's where it can get a little bit confusing. So you might want to play it on a single game week instead, and this allows you to focus on the 1 game week and pick the best player in the best fixture for that single game week. But obviously you've got that lower ceiling to points because you've only got the 1 game as opposed to the 2. So in my opinion, the best triple captain options, we've got Haaland on the left hand side there. He's a given, he's obvious. Salah, Son, and then I've got a player there with a question mark on him. There's always going to be someone who pops up at some point. We saw Rashford last season when he comes back from the World Cup and goes on a crazy run. There's always going to be someone like this, who does pop up. If you are going to play it, I would recommend sticking to the bigger players, these reliable goal scorers, players particularly that are on penalties, that have got the ability to get those hat-tricks. All 3 of these players, Haaland, Salah and Son, have all got hat-trick potential, and that's what you want from a triple captain. You want to get as many points as possible within these 2 games, and being able to triple that return is just absolutely crazy. So if you are going to play it, I would focus on Haaland, Salah and Son, but there will be someone who pops up at some point that you might want to take a bit of a gamble on. We just don't know who he is right now. You get 2 fixtures, so you get twice as many chances to score those points, and that just allows you to maximise the points potential from all players, including your bench players. Now, they might not be the best bench players, but they still have 2 opportunities to score those points. And like I said a couple of times, it does require some planning beforehand to look for those potential double game weeks and to plan your team just beforehand. So like I mentioned before about the wildcard strategy, playing your wildcard the week before you want to play your bench boost just allows the minimal amount of time between those game weeks, so you don't get any injuries, you don't get any suspensions, and that's where it kind of comes into play of linking the chips together. Now, you can still play it on a single game week, so you might you might look at your team one day and you've got a very, very strong 11, but you've also got a really strong bench. You've got a lot of benching headaches. In that case, it might just be worth to play it. I would still always rather play it in a double game week, but I can see why someone might want to play it in a single when they might have a really strong bench. Someone like you don't really want to bench them like Cole Palmer, someone who's on penalties on a decent form, but it might hit a point in the season where Palmer might be our first sub and you don't want to do it. But obviously playing it a single game week does limit the amount of points that you are and you are able to receive, as it's only one single game. I do prefer the double game week option, but I can see the reason why people might want to play it on a single game week. Bench boost, decent chip, for me a little bit overrated. So when you are creating your chip strategy, you want to focus around when are the blanks and when are the doubles. So we've got a list of potential blanks and doubles, and this is found at FPL.Team using the Planet FPL projected fixtures. Now these are subject to change and are not confirmed. These are predictions and potential ones, but is a really handy feature because James knows his stuff, particularly when it does come to the fixtures. So it's not a bad tool at all to jump on and look at those potential blanks and potential doubles as well. So we do have a confirmed double in game week 25. It is a small double, but it's confirmed for Man City and Brentford, and there's potential for Liverpool and Luton also to have a double in game week 25 as well. So this might not be a bad opportunity to play a chip, something like a triple captain when we know Man City have got a double. If we know Haaland's fit, this might not be a bad opportunity to play that triple captain chip. There's predicted to be a blank in game week 26, and that's a blank for basically potential blank for Chelsea, Liverpool and Spurs. Now if you own a few of these assets, then your team's going to be massively diminished from that point of view, so it's important to maybe thinking around at the game week 26. We have got a little bit of time from now up to then, so we can maybe work around those, but we still need to get Salah and Son back in our team, and if both of those players do blank in game week 26 as well, then we're only getting them back in game week 25 for that one game week. Then it might not work as well as people might think. Now we do have a potentially big blank game week in game week 29 with as little as three fixtures. This is not ideal at all, and some of the teams within these fixtures aren't really teams that you usually want to own players from. So the teams that have potentially got a fixture in game week 29 are the likes of Spurs, West Ham, Fulham, Burnley, Brentford and Villa. Now we have got some decent players in there, and we could potentially navigate this and manoeuvre it up until then, but if you don't own a lot of those, then this might be an opportunity to play something like a free hit. Now we always get medium to big size doubles later on in the season, and one of those is going to be game week 34, where that's predicted to be a medium-sized potential double, and there's a lot of teams doubling in game week 34, so the likes of Arsenal, Bournemouth, Palace, Everton, Sheffield United, Wolves. There aren't the best teams in there, but you might want to target something like a double Arsenal player or three Arsenal assets kind of going into that. Probably the biggest double of the season is going to be game week 37, and there's a lot of teams that double in game week 37. You've got usual suspects in there of things like Liverpool and Man City, where this might be the last chance to kind of focus on these chips. I do quite like something like a bench boost in game week 37 because we've got a lot of doubles and we've got a lot of options to focus it around. But the only thing that kind of limits is I like playing my wild card prior to a bench boost, so it kind of leaves a very, very late wild card of game week 34, game week 35. I maybe a little bit earlier from 30 to 33. You're just leaving a long time between that and playing your bench boost in game week 37. Don't hate it, but those are the blanks and the doubles that are currently being predicted right now. Like I said, these are not confirmed and they are subject to change depending on how people are doing cup competitions and if there's any kind of future clashes moving forward. But I think we've got potential of some decent doubles, particularly later on in the season, game week 34 and game week 37, where you might want to focus some of your chips around that period. So I've created 4 different chip strategies. On the left hand side we've got Man City and Liverpool with their potential doubles in 25 and 37. We can see Man City have got a very, very good double in game week 25 at home to Chelsea and Brentford. Liverpool is still potential, and it's predicted to be a double in game week 25. And there's potential that Salah might be back for this. If he's back in game week 24, then he'll play both games. I think there's a chance that he doesn't come back until game week 25 and he only plays the Luton game. That puts me off a little bit. But onto the 4 different options that we've got for the current chip strategies. Option 1, we're looking to play a wildcard very, very soon, either between the periods of game week 22 and game week 24, and that's looking to set up the bench boost for game week 25. Now we are using a lot of chips very early on, and I don't like this strategy so much because we are playing that wildcard very, very early, and we might we might need it later on in the season. Then we're looking to play free hit in game week 29, and a lot of these strategies do involve that free hit in game week 29. Now it's not a given, like we don't have to play it here. Like there will be other opportunities to play it, and you might want to play it in a random game week anyway, but I popped it in game week 29 just because we do have that potential blank for that game week, and that leaves us with the triple captain to either play it in game week 34 where it's predicted Arsenal might double, or game week 37 where we get a lot of teams doubling, and the likes of Liverpool and Man City, and potentially doubling in game week 37. So that's option one. I don't like this one as much. Probably one of my favourite kind of strategies that I've created so far in terms of chips is the second one, and that's looking to play triple captain very soon in game week 25, and I will triple captain Haaland. If Haaland was to be ruled out, I'd maybe try and focus on maybe Kevin De Bruyne if I think he's going to play the double there, just with Man City playing Chelsea and Brentford both at home as opposed to their game week 37 fixtures, which might be Fulham and Spurs away. The same with Liverpool where it might be Villa and Fulham away. I like the double home games that Man City have got. We all know how good Haaland is at home. This might be a very, very good opportunity for us to target that because it's confirmed as well. Like, we've got the information we need and we could just go for it from the off. Hopefully Haaland plays soon, and then we can make a decision very, very soon about whether we're going to play this. But this is a very real opportunity for us to play triple captain in game week 25 and target the likes of Haaland or De Bruyne, and that's still looking to play free hit in game week 29, so using our free transfers all the way up to game week 28, free hit in game week 29, and then look to wildcard around game week 30 to game week 33, around that kind of period, and they're looking to bench boost in either game week 34 or game week 37. It's entirely up to you, and it depends at how you are going to set up your wildcard. And then moving on to strategy number 3, and it's almost identical in terms of play triple captain game week 25, free hit game week 29, but delaying that wild card to game week 36 and setting up the bench boost perfectly for game week 37. This might be leaving the wild card a little bit late, and I think playing it between kind of game week 30 and game week 33 might be the prime opportunity to do that. But it's just kind of wait and see and kind of see what information we do get. And on to the fourth strategy. That's not playing anything really up until game week 25, and that's playing your free hit potentially in game week 25, or playing nothing up until game week 29. Free hit and free hitting in game week 29, at wildcard in game week 30, game week 33, bench boost straight away into game week 34, and triple captain in game week 37. I like that the triple captainship will be on a Man City or a Liverpool player in game week 37, potentially anyway. I just don't like using that triple captain in such a big double. I feel like the bench boost might be a better solution to play in game week 37. If you can set your team up very, very well up until that point and you've got a strong bench, I think bench boost is the best chip to play in game week 37. So it's kind of a toss up between me if I'm going to play it in game week if I'm going to choose option 2 or option 3. I might kind of use a combination of these. I might even play free hit in game week 29, and I might just save it and just kind of see how it goes. I could even potentially play my free hit in game week 34 and really target all those different doubles, but I think I do like the triple captain chip to be played in around game week 25 when we know we've got that confirmed Man City double. We can look at the likes of Haaland and De Bruyne for that one, and if Liverpool do get a double and Salah's back, or if you want to go down the route of getting Trent and triple captain Trent for those double fixtures, Brentford away, Luton at home, I don't hate that at all. So they're my current chip strategies. Have you got any other kind of alternatives? Are you thinking of anything else right now? Leave a comment down below. Right mates, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. So today we went through each one of the different chips, what they do, when it's best to play them, and the reason why you might want to play them during certain points of the season. And then we brought all that together and we created 4 different chip strategies. I think there's a few different options that you can go, and it's important that you kind of think about it in terms of the long-term plan, and really plan these different things out. And if you can kind of start thinking about it now, then you'll be better prepared when it does come to the time. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment down below. Have a good day, good luck, peace and love.